Good evening, everyone. The topic of today's video is making time for things that are important to you, or at least the things that you say that are important to you. Welcome back to another video again. My name is Nick Lawrence, two-time Ironman, and my goal with this channel is to document my process and journey to improving and mastering the Ironman distance triathlon. My third triathlon, or my third Ironman distance triathlon, will be this coming July in 2025. So we have a little bit of time. But like I said, in today's video, I want to talk a little bit about making time for what is important to you. Now, right now it is around 10:38 p.m. to be specific. And I'm sure if you've watched all my videos that you would know this isn't the first time that I'm recording this late. And I've said that the fact of the matter is, with the type of job that I have, sometimes due to whatever business events, networking events, or just work functions, I will have to spend a little bit of extra time either during work or after work at these functions. Now, obviously, this is not ideal for someone who dedicates so much time to training, but I don't let this become an excuse to not get my training in. Typically, if there's an event like this, I know at least the day in advance, maybe 2 days in advance. In today's case, after work, I had a networking event, which was a 50th anniversary party or networking event for an engineering company that I hire a lot at the hospital that I work with. So a good opportunity to show face, meet more people in the company, and also meet other clients that this specific engineering company works with. Not an event that I would normally want to miss, just because I work very closely with these guys, and it's always a good time. So anticipating this, I make sure to wake up earlier today, and if you follow me on Instagram, you would see that my story showed a nice early morning run through a nature park, which was actually a very enjoyable run from a visual perspective, but very difficult because lately I've been under-rested and fairly achy in my legs, mostly due to the recent speed work this week. But despite the under-recovery and despite the earliness of the morning, I set my alarm, I got up, I had a quick 150 calorie goo pack from BPN Nutrition, just BPN, and I got out there and I started my 5-mile run. Luckily today it wasn't an intense run, it was just 5 easy miles at no specific pace. My goal was to keep a low aerobic zone for the whole run, and I did, and I got the run done early in the morning. I was a little bit more tired today because of my under recovery and under rest, and then after work I made the time to go to this event, and I ended up having a good time. Now getting home at approximately, like I said, 10:30 p.m. This isn't a standard day, and days like this can come up maybe once a week, twice a week, once every other week. You really can't predict it because your schedule fluctuates with the time of year and, just things going on in your life. But as I brought up in the beginning of this video, the whole subject is making time for what's important to you. For me, my training is very important to me, and I always want to make sure that I'm putting myself in the best situation to get it done and then reap the benefits of the training. So work in as much recovery as I possibly can, within reason with my busy life. This isn't always easy, but it takes planning, and if something is important to you, it's my belief that it's your responsibility to plan for it and build it into your schedule. Today, I could have easily told myself this morning when I woke up that I'm too tired, I'm achy, and I don't want to do my run. And then I could have just gone to work, gone to the event, and come home. Or I could have gone to work, run, and not gone to the event and gone home. And in the latter two scenarios, I'd be missing out on what I consider important to me, which both my training and my career are important to me. So there's this one thing that my girlfriend's father said to me, and he didn't say this in judgment or anything, but he was saying something along the lines of, it's good to be an Ironman as being an Ironman, but you also want to be an Ironman in life. And obviously I didn't change my behavior because of this statement, but it definitely displays what I also view as a priority to me, which isn't just being a high performing person in my sport. My real end goal and what I strive for is to balance that high performance along my several goals so that I can essentially be high level in everything, including my personal relationships, including my career, and including my hobby, which happens to be athletics and sport and health related. That doesn't happen by chance. It only happens by setting aside the time, making the time for these things, and then actually executing on that time or that plan. So I'm not going to dig too much further into that because I think you probably get the gist. I've probably spoken enough circles for you to see my take on it, and I'd be curious what you think about this subject. And this really is a bit deeper of a mentality discussion, because it's one of those things where if you don't have this mentality already, sometimes it's easy to give yourself a pass and justify your reasons for not acting in this way. Like, it's very easy to justify not doing your run or your workout for the day, or not going the extra mile at work, or not showing up for your significant other or your children. That's easy. It's easy to give up. It's easy to not set aside the time, and it's easy to not execute on your plan, because for the most part, and I learned this a long time ago, 95 to 99% of people have the right idea and the right intentions behind their goals and what they want to accomplish and what they know that they should do to get to where they want to be. But out of those 99 to 95% of people, I mean, I'd say that there's less than 10% that actually act on what they know that they should be doing. And that action is what makes the difference between people with a happy and balanced life, or a life of fulfillment, and a life of victimization where you blame others for not, or you blame circumstances for not having achieved what you want to achieve out of life. As another more specific example, if you say you want to run a 5K, your first 5K, and you already have a full-time job, you're in a relationship, and you're at the point where you're trying to start your family, you're trying to progress in your career. Let's say that's you. So you're putting a good bit of effort in several areas of your life, minus fitness, let's say. But you have the desire to run a 5K. How much time do you think it would take you to get to the point to run 3 miles starting from 0? And how many days a week do you think that would take? Well, in reality, this is the state of a lot of people in the world, and many of them think that running just isn't for them because it's hard or they don't have time. But what they don't realize is, if you're gonna run a 5K, 3 miles, oftentimes, even if you're, very slow walk jogging, you can probably get it done within 45 to 50 minutes for the whole 5K. And most of your workouts aren't going to be that long. You're probably going to start with like a mile walking and jogging, or 2 miles walking and jogging. Realistically, 3 days a week, 2 to 3 days a week for, say, 10 weeks of 30 to 45 to 60 minutes a day is going to get you there. So something that somebody would say is so important to them, and such a desire for them to get in better shape and to be able to run a 5K, in reality, all they need to do to get to that point is train for maybe 2 to 3 hours a week. And oftentimes many people just aren't going to do that. And then when you break it down like that, when you realize that it only takes like 2 to 3 hours a week to get to that point, there's no other question to ask yourself as, is this as important to me as I think it is? Now, is this more important, or is this as important to me as I think it is? I would understand that for an Ironman, like, many people don't feel that they can commit 10 hours a week to completing an Ironman triathlon. And on top of that, it's extremely intimidating because of the distance that the race is. But for something like a 5K or a 10K, now up it to a 10K, 3 to 5 hours per week maximum, and you can jog out a 10K. Something to think about. So if you have a fitness goal or another goal, say a certification or a school or something, and I feel completely qualified to talk about these things because you've seen on my channel at least me study for, take, and pass my engineering licensure. Obviously, I went through engineering college. I've worked in my professional career for probably like 8 years now, and I've completed 2 Ironman triathlons. Like, I know a thing or two about setting a goal and accomplishing it. If you have a goal, then you really need to ask yourself, one, is it actually important to you? Because there's no way you're going to make the time for something that's not actually important to you. And 2, how much time would you have to dedicate to this goal per week to move in the direction that you want to? That's the next question. Because when you break it down like that, and you notice that to get in relatively good shape, and to know that if you kept this up for, say, 52 weeks of 3 days a week of jogging, that you're going to be a completely different person after 52 weeks, and you don't necessarily need to do 10 hours a week of training when you can do 3 hours a week of training for a whole year, and know that in that you'll be a completely different person at the end. Like, knowing that, in my mind, makes it much more palatable to most people. But like I said, this episode, or this video, not to call them episodes or not, this video is me trying to break down, or at least instill the thought of, if something is really important to you, you'll make time for it. And to challenge you that if there's something that you are telling yourself that you want to do, and it is actually important to you, then the only way that you're actually going to accomplish it is by making time for it. My name is Nick Lawrence, and thank you for listening to my video. Good night.